Hey everyone, I'm getting ready for IlluxCon right now, as well as New York Comic Con, and so I'm pulling out an old but favorite video from the vault here that I haven't shown in its entirety. This was the Deadpool holofoil that I painted for Marvel Masterpieces 2020. I am just going to talk a little bit about some thoughts on this painting, and then I'm going to talk a little bit in my thoughts on getting ready for these shows that I'm doing. So just the most important thing that comes to my mind when I think about this particular painting was that it was really hard for me to land on a concept that I was happy with. When I was working on Marvel Masterpieces, I was given a list of characters and really pretty much free reign to do whatever I wanted from there. And I submitted sketches to get approvals, and most of them I didn't really get much in the way of notes or changes to them. Occasionally I would, but it was mostly up to me to decide what direction I wanted to take with each particular card. And Deadpool was one of the more challenging ones. I think in part because he's a very popular character that I feel like I understand to a certain degree, but I don't know the character as deeply as I do some of the other key characters. And I wanted to have it really represent the character well and have it be a cool, memorable, interesting piece. The thing that I was sticking on with Deadpool was the kind of like humorous tone that the character often has, which is to a level of absurdity sometimes, the way that it's mixed with the violence or mixed with it was a tricky tone for me to achieve, and something that I don't normally do a whole lot of. And so I really just rejected a lot of my own concepts and sketches. And because I had so much time to work on this whole set, I just kept coming back to the Deadpool character cards again and again, and then putting them away and coming back to them again. And after, I think it took me like a year before I finally felt like I had found some ideas that I liked. So the other Deadpool painting I did for this set, where he's roasting marshmallows over a campfire and there's just this like apocalyptic scene all around him, that was for the base card. And then this piece for the holofoil is kind of more like a Valentine's Day Deadpool with this pin-up-y vibe to it. I liked the idea of the smoking jacket and then having the pin-up on the wall behind him of himself in the classic Marilyn Monroe Playboy pose. And it just felt like kind of the right vibe of what I was going for with how to catch that humorous side of the character in the right kind of way. And I'm really happy with it. I hope that other folks feel like it's a good representation of that aspect of Deadpool. So the other thing that I'm going to talk about is just getting ready for these shows. I am going to be participating in IlluxCon. I'm going to be exhibiting at that show. And at New York Comic Con, I'm just going to be going up there for the day to walk around and, meet with some people, catch up with some people, see what there is to see, and do some promotion if possible. And I think that one of the common questions that I have seen over the years is from young artists and students who want to know how to start getting work and how to break into the industry. And I always find this a challenging question to answer, because when I started, it was almost 20 years ago, and it was just such a different place. There wasn't even really functioning social media at the time. And so the things that I did and the strategies that made sense at that time, I question how relevant they are today. Even if I had gotten my start 5 years ago, it would feel like such a different landscape. So 20 years ago it's just a different universe. But I think that there are certain things that still work and certain things that I believe are still like a very good approach. And getting out to a convention and meeting people face to face is one of those things. It's not necessarily always practical or accessible for everybody, but if you're able to do it, I think that face-to-face meetings really is one of the best ways to connect with potential clients and potential collectors. So when I'm going to a LuxCon as an exhibitor, it's a little bit more of, I'm putting a lot of work into how I'm presenting myself, what I'm going to show. But beyond that, it's a little bit more passive because people will come and see my work and they can engage with me or not engage with me as they choose. And it's really more about just putting on a good show and thinking about what you want to present, how you want to present it, and making sure to have business cards or whatever on hand in case you do get into one of those conversations, or just having them out for people to take if they don't want to stop and have a conversation, which there are definitely many jobs over the years that I've gotten from somebody who took a card from me at a convention but didn't bother to stop and say hello, and then later down the road contacted me about something. The New York Comic Con approach, where I'm going to just be on foot walking around talking to people, that's really much more how I got started, how I got the ball rolling on my own career, was going to San Diego Comic Con and other shows, Worldcon, just any show that there was going to be an opportunity to meet both art directors and other artists and just get in conversations and just be ready to learn as much as you can learn. Any art director or artist who's willing to give a portfolio review, there's so much valuable things that you can learn and take away from that. And always having with me some kind of promotional material that I can hand off to people. And a business card is great. A postcard is better, something that you can have more images on or a bigger image on. And in some cases, I've even had printed up little booklets. And little booklets can be something very modest or something more extravagant. They can be something that you have a whole bunch of really cheap ones to give out to any art directors that you meet or artists or whoever you feel is worth giving a book to. Or they can be more tailored. There have been a couple of times in the past where I had like specifically made one-off books that were designed to give to a specific person that I really wanted to work with down the road. And there's so many options now with print-on-demand companies that can do this really affordably. I mean, I think at times in the past, I would find like a local print shop or I would do it with a blurb, and that could be kind of expensive. But now there's plenty of options where for New York Comic Con, I'm actually bringing a small handful of books that are for a specific client I want to work with. And they're 12-page books, and 6 of them only cost me like $20, including the shipping, which is, I think, a really, worthwhile investment if you're hoping to make inroads with a client that could turn into an important opportunity or a long-term relationship. And, it's really about then just kind of putting your best foot forward, always being ready to, I'm not a real extroverted person, but I understand when I'm at the show, I'm here to do a job. And so it's about putting yourself out there and being prepared for being prepared for a no, and that's okay, but really trying to just kind of get your work in front of or in the hands of anybody who you might want to work with down the road. And sometimes you might give a card or a book to somebody and it doesn't come of anything right away. But if it's something that it's worth hanging on to, that they might keep that. And then when a job does come up, that's often where an opportunity would come through for me, is down the road, maybe some months or even some years later, something develops that I'm a good fit for. And then that client calls me up. And in some cases, those have turned into very long and productive relationships. So in any case, that's my thoughts right now. And I will catch you next time.